In 2013, Ford announced the Focus was the best-selling car in the world. Real press release, real numbers, a Ford analyst on the record. And the Focus isn't anywhere on this list. Ford wasn't lying either, which is the bit that bothered me. There's no straight answer on the most sold car models ever. Toyota, Ford, Volkswagen, Honda, they all publish their own lifetime totals, and nobody checks them. Guinness has one record in this whole category, and it's from 2005. So, smallest number to biggest. And the car that ends up on top only got there because of a decision somebody made in a meeting. Bottom of the list, Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. The Hongguang Mini EV is what happens when a car that did not exist in 2020 shows up on an all-time list. More than 1.9 million by the end of 2025. On sale since July 2020, 60 consecutive months leading China's micro EV segment. 5.5 years. That's the whole career. Best-selling battery electric car from a Chinese brand in history. Earned in less time than one Golf generation. Quick one before we climb. Which car do you think actually deserves number one once you strip out the accounting? Put it in the comments now, then check at the end whether you were counting it the same way the manufacturer does. The next two cars are tied at exactly 10 million, and one of those numbers is old enough to vote, Toyota Camry. The Camry owner has never once been asked about their car and considers that the feature. 10 million worldwide as of September 2005, around since 1982, 309,875 U.S. sales in 2024. 23rd year as North America's top-selling passenger car, September 2005. That is the last cumulative Camry figure Toyota has ever published. The world's most durable sedan has a lifetime total that stopped being counted publicly 21 years ago because nobody at Toyota decided a bigger round number was worth announcing. Not a record, an abandoned tab. Toyota RAV4. The RAV4 is what happens when the boring car wins. 10 million as of the end of February 2020. The same number as the Camry, reached 15 years later. Launched in 1994. In 2024, it took the world annual title on 1,187,000 against the Model Y's 1,185,000. 2,000 cars, 2,000. And there is a Toyota further up this list with a combat record, not a race record. Remember that one too, Honda Accord. The Accord buyer picked one because it was the sensible choice and has now made the sensible choice 4 times. 15 million sold in America. Milestone reached 29th of June, 2026. Selling since 1976, built in Ohio since 1982. 150,196 U.S. sales in 2025, down 7.7%. The 15 millionth and the 15 million in first went to 2 sisters on the same day, Andrea and Alondra. Norm Reeves Honda, Cerritos, California. The most Accord thing that has ever happened. One nameplate coming up isn't one car. It's 3 unrelated cars on 3 continents wearing one badge. Ford Model T. The Model T created the category and then owned it for 45 years. More than 15 million. That's Ford's wording. And it is the only wording Ford has ever published. 1908 to 26th of May, 1927. One generation. No precise total ever. On the last day, Henry Ford and his son Edsel drove the ceremonial 15 millionth car out of Highland Park. A car that defined the century. And the company that built it, Rounds. That record stood for 4.5 decades. And it got broken by one car. Literally one. We're coming back to that. Toyota Hilux, the one with the combat record. I told you, 17.7 million plus by 2017, Toyota's 50th birthday figure. In production since 1968. 9th generation, revealed in Bangkok, 10th of November, 2025, including the first battery electric Hilux. Battle of Feta, 2nd of January, 1987. Chad lost 18 men and 3 trucks. The other side lost 784 killed, 92 tanks, and 33 armored vehicles. And you still can't buy one in America because of a 1960s argument about chickens and Lyndon Johnson's 25% tariff on imported light trucks. Won a war, lost to a chicken. Volkswagen Beetle, 21,529,464. Not about, not more than, not a figure somebody rounded off on the way out the door, right down to the last 4 cars, and nobody else on this list can do that. From 1938 to 30th of July 2003, one generation, one body, one layout, essentially unchanged for 65 years. Then 17th of February, 1972, Wolfsburg, Beetle number 15,007,034, and VW announces it has beaten the Model T, by Volkswagen's count, by one car. That margin only exists if you accept somebody else's Model T total because Ford never published one. The last run was 3,000 Ultima Edition cars. The final one drove off the line and straight into a museum. Now, the part I'm not proud of, 5 cars belong on this list and cannot be given a number, so they're going in together. Ford Escort, and there it is, the 3 cars one badge won. A European Escort, 1968 to 2004. A completely different North American Escort. A Chinese Escort launched in 2014 and killed in 2023. It's the company's best-selling car nameplate ever, the F-Series being a truck, and Ford has never published a total for it. Nissan Sunny beat the Corolla to market by 7 months, 23rd of April, 1966, with a name picked from a public vote of over 8 million suggestions. No Nissan figure. Lotta Classic, a licensed 1966 Fiat 124 that stayed in production over 40 years. Nobody agrees on the number, and nobody agrees where the model even ends. Ford Fiesta, last one built in Cologne, 7th of July, 2023, after 47 years. Sources disagree on its lifetime total by millions. Millions. Chevrolet Impala, no lifetime total at all, but it still owns the American single-year record, 1,074,925 cars in 1965. 60 years unbeaten. 5 household names. Not one usable number between them. Number 2 on this list, meanwhile, is only number 2 because Ford gets to draw its own boundary. Honda Civic. The Civic buyer at 19 and the Civic buyer at 51 are the same person. And both of them think they got a deal. More than 27 million sold as of May 2025. On sale since 1972, 11th generation, 238,661 U.S. sales in 2025. That last one matters because the Civic is one of the very few nameplates here still moving real volume in America. Same trick as the Accord. Sell an unexciting car to the same person repeatedly for 50 years. Volkswagen Passat. The Passat is so unremarkable that even its own record has stopped moving. 30 millionth built at Emden, 3rd of April, 2019. In showrooms since 1973, 7 years. That figure has not moved in 7 years. In that same release, VW called it the best-selling mid-size nameplate on the planet, put the Golf at 35 million and the Beetle at 21.5 million, and then stopped counting. Same as the Camry, frozen in 2005. Volkswagen Golf. The Golf invented the sensible European hatchback and is now being escorted out of its own factory. 37 million plus produced as of March 2024. Production started 29th of March, 1974. 8 generations, still Europe's bestseller in 2024 on 216,549, about 13,000 ahead of VW's own T-Roc. Over 1 million built in 2015 against a projected 250,000 for 2025. A 75% fall, and VW plans to move combustion Golf production to Puebla from 2027. Puebla is where the last classic Beetle was built in 2003. Same plant, same ending. Ford F-Series. The boundary I told you about, here is how it gets drawn. More than 40 million since 1948. The 40 millionth was built 27th of January, 2022. An F-150 out of Dearborn. 828,832 U.S. sales in 2025. 49th straight year as America's best-selling truck. The catch is what counts as the model. It runs from the F-150 all the way to the F-750 commercial truck, and Ford publishes no split. Combine GM Silverado, 588,709, with the Sierra's 356,218, and you get 944,927 against Ford's 828,832. GM wins the arithmetic, Ford wins the brand. Only one of those gets a press release, Toyota Corolla. More than 57 million sold as of March 2026, excluding driving school vehicles, which is Toyota's own caveat, and a genuinely strange thing to need a caveat about. Launched November 1966 under Tatsuo Hasegawa, a former wartime aircraft designer, on his rule that every facet of the car score at least 80 points. 12 generations. It passed 50 million in July 2021, and Toyota has no idea which car it was. Never tagged, never located, purely a statistical total. Same at 40 million in 2013. Corolla is Latin for a small crown. So, about everything I just ranked, none of it is audited. No global body certifies cumulative model sales. Every number in that list came from the company holding the record. The only exception is that single Guinness record. First car to sell 30 million units, Corolla 2005. That is the entire official record book. The columns don't match. VW states cars produced. Toyota and Honda state cars sold. Ford's 2013 claim used RL Polk registrations. 3 different series stacked in one column. The numbers are stale, and you can date the staleness. Camry, September 2005. Hilux, 2017. Passat, April 2019. F-Series, January 2022. Golf, March 2024. And nameplate is a marketing decision, the meeting I told you about. Ford's model spans a pickup and a commercial truck. Toyota's spans a sedan, an estate, and an SUV. The Auris became a Corolla in 2018, and the Corolla Cross feeds the same total. The proof is on one chart. JATO's 2024 numbers list them as 2 different cars. Corolla Cross, 859,000, Corolla Sedan, 697,000. Add them and you clear the RAV4's 1,187,000. Split them and the Corolla Sedan finished 5th. Same car, same year, 2 answers. Which brings us back to Ford in 2013. Eric Merkel, Ford's analyst, claimed the Focus was the world's best-selling car. 589,709 units, up 20% on Polk registration data. Toyota disputed the method. Polk confirmed Ford's number was accurate. Nobody was lying, they were just counting. Which leaves this. The only exact closed final number in the entire ranking belongs to a car that stopped being built in 2003. Everything above it is an open figure, supplied by the company holding the trophy, updated whenever a round number is worth a press release. The best-selling car of all time isn't a record. It's a press release nobody ever fact-checked.